The Baldwin County Public School System, considered one of the finest educational environments in the entire state of Alabama, has a history beginning in the latter part of the 18th century, when, as records indicate, Alabama's first public schoolhouse was built in the North Baldwin County community of Tensas in 1799. At that time, nearly 10 years prior to Baldwin being organized as a county, the area remained geographically expanse. Agriculture served as king, and family farms dotted every section of the county. However, in this era of extremely limited highway systems, individual communities built their own respective public schoolhouses, with the Board of Education supplying teachers to provide instruction. In the early part of the 20th century, the Baldwin County Public School System boasted over 80 separate school districts, each with their own individual public schoolhouse. As time progressed, marked with improvements in transportation and engineering, numerous school districts were consolidated into nearby areas, leaving us today with very few of the original public schoolhouses, which distinguished, beginning in 1799, Baldwin County as the birthplace of Alabama's first public schoolhouse. This documentary, commissioned by the Honorable County Commissioners of Baldwin County and honorable members of the Baldwin County Board of Education, seeks to illuminate these few remaining and historic original public schoolhouses in an effort to pay tribute to one of the finest public school systems in Alabama. The old Robertsdale High School, presently the location of today's existing Robertsdale Elementary School, served the area's high school-age youth from 1928 until the early 1990s. This edifice, simple and classic in design, remains one of the few surviving examples of former and historic schoolhouses styled along those early 20th century architectural standards set by the State Board of Education. As it was during this time period that local boards of education seeking to construct new public school buildings obtained architectural renderings from the state in an effort to elevate architectural standards statewide as it related to public schoolhouses. The original acreage at this site remained a gift from Mrs. Stoddard, with, as time progressed, the Baldwin County Board of Education purchasing additional acreage to augment the growing needs at the school.
The Robertsdale High School was one of the standard schools designed by Frank Lockhart that we talked about earlier. And it was one of the largest at the time, and therefore its auditorium was the largest in the county. And therefore we had most of our teachers' meetings at Robertsdale because it would accommodate. C.F. Taylor was one of our legendary school principals in that area. He had been there most of his life. Nobody knew that C.F. Taylor had a doctor's degree until after he died. He simply did not reveal it. He did not want to be the only doctor in the whole school, so nobody else had a doctorate. And C.F. Taylor never told anybody. C.F. Taylor was a long-time principal of Robertsdale. He actually had a doctor's degree when he came to Baldwin County, but he never told any of his colleagues. I suppose the superintendent of education may have known it, but he never told any of his colleagues, and he never used the title. He did not want to stand out or appear to lord it over his fellow colleagues. Mr. Taylor was offered every job that was ever available at the supervisory level. And not until the very end of his life did he accept one. Just at the very end, he accepted a supervisorship for the curriculum in Baldwin County. He would just simply say, "No, I want to be C.F. Taylor from Robertsdale. I don't want to be superintendent. I don't want to be anything else. I don't want to go to some college. I want to be C.F. Taylor from Robertsdale. That's my ambition. The building itself, at the time it was built, was, I'm sure, the largest single building, school building in Baldwin County. I believe it was anyway. It was what I call a standard, one of the standard buildings, in that its plan was ordered from the State Department of Education and was one of the results of architect Lockhart's efforts. Its auditorium, since it was the largest, since it came with the largest number of classrooms at the time, it naturally had the largest auditorium. Auditoriums expanded along with the size of along with the number of classrooms. You simply added a bay to the existing plans. That is another set of windows, which extended the length of the auditorium. It was big enough for a full-size basketball court. We never had to double up inside of the Robertsdale auditorium. Its floors were, as I've earlier described, of wood, which we oiled, and its paint scheme was the same as the rest of the buildings of that particular era. It had the same slate, false slate, ersatz slate tile, asbestos tile for a roof. It had high windows that could ventilate top and bottom. It was built high off the ground in the back part, and you could almost walk under the back part. There was plenty of crawl space under that building, so that it had good access to steam and water pipes, that sort of thing. That was a real problem with many of our schools in Baldwin County. They were built too low to the ground. Didn't give you much working space under them. But not Robertsdale. We could get to the side of the broken pipe and have room to work on it. The Robertsdale campus was put together out of several bits and pieces that were purchased at separate times and but it eventually became a fairly large campus, big enough for us to put the area vocational school there in the later years. So it is and was one of our nicest campuses as far as terrain and so forth. Big enough for athletic fields and school buildings and playgrounds. A wonderful campus. When it came time to expand schools, especially senior high schools, we simply moved away and found another campus and built a new building. And we used the older buildings for the expansion of the lower grades. And Robertsdale High School, the old Robertsdale High School became the middle school. Then as it continued to expand, it became elementary school. That's a pattern. Removal of movable classrooms, decrease. You could move away when you built a new campus. It would relieve all of Baldwin County. You could spread out the portable classrooms from that area to other areas, and you could tear down unacceptable buildings. One of those buildings that were torn down was a kind of a gymnasium that served the people of that area for a long time. Very small, heated by a fireplace. And I can remember a certain basketball game that took place in 1942, in the early spring of 1942, where the junior high school championship was being played there, and the basketball went into the fire. And they had to suspend the game while we found a new basketball. It went into the huge fireplace, which had a roaring fire in it. I had started a basketball team in Alberta when I taught there in the fall of 1938 and 39. And by 1942, these kids had gone on to Foley High School and had 4 out of the 5 starters on my team had composed the Foley team. And I had gotten in the Navy, and I was able to come back and watch that team in late January of 1942. I was able to watch them win the county championship that night. And it was their ball that was lost in the fire. That was of particular interest to me as I watched the kids that I started out on that outdoor court win the county championship with 4 out of the 5 of the Foley team as starters.
Well, I went to school in Robertsdale School. I started in first grade and just made the rounds in this one building. My first grade teacher taught 5 people in my family. First my brother, then myself, my nephew, and 2 of my 3 children. Miss Catherine Snider, who just passed away last year at 93 years old. I thoroughly enjoyed my days in Robertsdale School. I don't know how well the teachers enjoyed me at times because, you know, we did little foolish things that we should not have done, but we did have good teachers. We had a wonderful principal of Mr. Taylor, and it was just some of the best years of my life because I am a native Robertsdalian. I love this school, and in fact, I was cheerleader in my senior year. In fact, now, at the present time, I am secretary of the Robertsdale High School alumni, and I am chairman of the scholarship program. And each year we give $400 or $500 scholarships. And I'll tell you what, this school system is a very, very good school system because when you get the applications from these kids, you can understand from 1st through 12th grades that they have had the good teachings that they need because it's really a hard decision when you get 12 or 15 applications to get 4 out of. And we've even had some of the students who have graduated from Robertsdale School with a 4.0 GPA, which is, I think, I mean, how much better can you get than that? But my days here were just wonderful days. I probably should have put more into the academics than I did, but it was just a very wonderful experience in my lifetime, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else. We had 2 occasions when, and I didn't do either one of these, but they were funny. We had the big, we called them potbelly heaters that they put coal in to heat the rooms. And we had a teacher that everybody picked on. And 2 of my friends put black pepper on the heater at night, in the evening after school. And the next morning when the janitors made the fire in the heater, well, of course, that black pepper just went everywhere, the odor and everything. And of course, we didn't have history class that day because no one could even go into class. So, and then on another occasion, same teacher, someone put a dead possum in her desk drawer. And this is terrible. And I blamed this girl, you know, and this guy that did the first act. And this girl was in a coma, lady, she, you know, just a few years ago. And I found out at our 50th class reunion that it was not her. It was one of the students who, she just excelled in everything. And I could not believe that this girl would do something like that. But anyway, the person that I was blaming, not blaming, you know, thought that had done this was in a coma at Fairhope Hospital, and I thought I got to get over there to her and apologize, because I can't have this on my conscience thinking that she had done it all these years, because at our, like I said, at our 50th class reunion, this other girl owned up to it. So I did go in the intensive care and apologize to her. I don't know if she heard me or not, but I did let her know that I was very sorry that I had blamed her. But those two things kind of happened. But that was the mean things that was going on in the schools, and if you would want to call it mean, you know, but just mischievous things. We had no vandalism. We had nothing like that going on, you know, during our years of school. But like I said, I just wouldn't have. I love Robertsdale, and I love Robertsdale School. I had to stay away from here. My husband worked civil service, and we were, when they closed the base in Mobile, we had to go to San Antonio. And we lived out there 30 years, and then we came back home, and it was just, I never forgot home, because I always felt like I needed to come back. And then I became active in the school again, you know, with the alumni. And I have, my youngest son moved back here, and his oldest son has graduated from